The broadcast of the adjourned meeting of the Local Board of Appeal and Equalization will now begin.
Good afternoon. Welcome to this live broadcast of our virtual meeting. This meeting includes the remote participation of members as authorized under Minnesota statutes, section 13D.021, due to the declared local health pandemic. The city will be recording and posting this meeting to the city's website and YouTube channel as a means of increasing public access and transparency. This meeting is public and subject to Minnesota open meeting law. For the record, my name is Neil Anderson and I am the chair of the Local Board of Appeal and Equalization. I will now call this meeting to order. The open meeting law requires a roll call vote to be conducted during the virtual meeting and a certification form to be completed for each local board meeting. This initial roll call will allow the city assessor to complete the certification form on behalf of the board members with a verbal signature. Will the clerk call the roll so that we may verify the presence of a quorum?
Board Member Bland.
Present.
Board Member Bodertha.
Present.
Board Member Chow.
Present.
Chair Anderson.
Present.
There are 4 members present.
We will proceed to the agenda, a copy of which was posted for public access to the city's legislative information management system, which is available at lims.minneapolismn.gov. May I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved by Bland, seconded by Bodertha to adopt the agenda. With that, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll on the motion.
Board Member Bland.
Aye.
Board Member Bodertha.
Aye.
Board Member Chow.
Aye.
Chair Anderson.
Aye.
There are 4 ayes.
That motion passes. The agenda is adopted. New business today. There are a total of 40 cases to consider during our afternoon session today. I will summarize the process for conducting hearings in this virtual format. First, we will call on the applicant who will be given 5 minutes to present their appeal. When your case is called, you will need to press *6 on your phone to activate your microphone and wait to hear the pre-recorded message before speaking. We ask that you state your name and address for the record and then present your appeal to the board. Next, the board will have 5 minutes to ask questions and discuss the case. The board will consider and take action on each case as they are presented. Property owners will be notified of the decision by mail after the board has adjourned. I will ask Rebecca Malmquist from the Assessor's Office to guide us through the cases on today's agenda. Rebecca.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Chair Anderson and board members. Good afternoon. Before we start with the cases, I did just want to again mention that today is scheduled to be the final day of the 2021 Local Board of Appeal and Equalization. We do continue to receive appeals and the board will accept appeals until the board adjourns. When the board adjourns, the appeal process has closed and we will no longer accept appeals. The Assessor's Office staff is monitoring incoming appeals and will notify the board of all appeals received right before we adjourn today. So with that, we are moving on to our cases scheduled between 1 and 2 p.m. starting with case number 210436, found on page 496 of your packet. It's a residential property at 2921 Knox Avenue North. This property is owned by Mr. Mark Langmaid, and if you recall from yesterday, Mr. Langmaid appeared and made it known to the board, and staff followed up with him that he wished to have all of his cases sustained by the board and will pursue working with staff on the next phase of the appeal process. So with that, board members, you can take action on this case.
Thank you. Case number 210436, 2929 Knox Avenue North. May I have a motion?
I move to sustain the value at $172,000.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved by Bodertha, seconded by Chow to sustain the 2021 estimated market value at $172,000. If there's no discussion on the motion, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Board Member Bland.
Aye.
Board Member Badurtha,
Aye.
Board Member Chow,
Aye.
Chair Anderson.
Aye.
There are 4 ayes.
Thank you. That carries and the motion is adopted. Rebecca?
Board members, moving to case 21-0437, a commercial property at 121 Washington Avenue South, number 35, found on page 503 in your packet. This is a property owner that did not respond to staff's request to schedule a phone-in or write-in appeal. And the market value for 2021 is $27,600, and the board can go ahead and take action.
Thank you. May I have a motion, please?
Yes, this appears to be the garage space for this particular condo unit. And so 121 Washington Avenue South, number 35 is the garage space. And I move that we sustain the value of $27,600.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved by Bland, seconded by Chow to sustain the 2021 estimated market value at $27,600. If there's no discussion on the motion, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Board Member Bland,
Aye.
Board Member Badurtha,
Aye.
Board Member Chow,
Aye.
Chair Anderson.
Aye.
There are 4 ayes.
That carries and the motion is adopted.
Chair Anderson and board members, moving to case 21-0438. On page 509 of your packet, this is another parcel with the same ownership, same situation, did not respond to staff's request to schedule. 121 Washington Avenue South, number 36. The 2021 estimated market value is $211,900. You may take action.
Thank you. Being there's no information to work from, may I have a motion?
I move to sustain the value at $211,900.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved by Chow, seconded by Bland to sustain the 2021 estimated market value at $211,900. There's no discussion on the motion. I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Board Member Bland,
Aye.
Board Member Badurtha,
Aye.
Board Member Chow,
Aye.
Chair Anderson.
Aye.
There are 4 ayes.
That carries and the motion is adopted. Rebecca?
The next case is 21-0439, found on page 515. Another commercial property at 121 Washington Avenue South, unit number 37. Same situation. The original 2021 value is $69,200, and the board can take action on this case.
Thank you. Quickly ask for a motion again.
I move to sustain the value at $69,200.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Has been moved by Bland, seconded by Badurtha to sustain the 2021 estimated market value at $69,200. If there's no discussion on the motion, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Board Member Bland,
Aye.
Board Member Badurtha,
Aye.
Board Member Chow,
Aye.
Chair Anderson.
Aye.
There are 4 ayes.
Thank you. That carries and the motion is adopted.
Okay, the next case is 21-0440, found on page 521. This property is again located at 121 Washington Avenue South, unit number 38. The original 2021 estimated market value is $55,300, and the board can go ahead and take action.
Thank you. May I have a motion, please?
I move to sustain the value at $55,300.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved by Badurtha, seconded by Chow to sustain the 2021 estimated market value at $55,300. There's no discussion on the motion. I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Board Member Bland,
Aye.
Board Member Badurtha,
Aye.
Board Member Chow,
Aye.
Chair Anderson.
Aye.
There are 4 ayes.
Thank you. That carries and the motion is adopted.
Okay, moving to case 21-0441, another commercial property located at 121 Washington Avenue South, unit number 25. Under the same ownership, the 2021 estimated market value is $92,200, and the board can go ahead and take action.
Is there someone willing to make a motion?
Move to sustain the value at 92,200.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
It has been moved by Bland, seconded by Chow to sustain the 2021 estimated market value at $92,200. There's no discussion on the motion. I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Board Member Bland.
Aye.
Board Member Bedertha.
Aye.
Board Member Chow.
Aye.
Chair Anderson.
Aye.
There are 4 ayes.
That carries and the motion is adopted.
Chair Anderson, moving to case number 21-0442, another property at 121 Washington Avenue South, unit number 26. The same ownership, same situation. The original 2021 market value is $106,700, and the board can go ahead and take action.
May I have a motion, please?
I move to sustain the value at $106,700.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved by Bodertha, seconded by Chow to sustain the 2021 estimated market value at $106,700. If there's no objections, I'll ask for the clerk to call the roll.
Board Member Bland.
Aye.
Board Member Bedertha.
Aye.
Board Member Chow.
Aye.
Chair Anderson.
Aye.
There are 4 ayes.
That carries and the motion is adopted.
Okay, board members, moving to our first phone and appeal for this time slot. Case number 210443, a double bungalow located at 3648 Bryant Avenue South, found on page 539 of your packet. The original estimated market value for 2021 is $427,000. The caller is, the property owner is on the line. Property owner, you can go ahead and press *6 to unmute. Please state your name and your property address, and you may present your case to the board. You have up to 5 minutes. Thank you.
This is Jonathan J. Kelsher, property owner at 3648 Bryant Avenue South. And I guess I'm petitioning to keep my assessed value at what it was in the previous year at $372,000. It's essentially the exact same property as 3632 Bryant Avenue, which is 3 doors to the north, and that property is valued at $373,000. My property also, for some reason, is by far the highest valued property on the block, with the exception of 3620, which is a duplex that sold recently at its appraised value. So I guess I don't have any justification of why mine is so much higher than everyone else's.
Okay, thank you. Do you have anything to add to that, or shall I open it up to the board for questions and comments?
Comparing it again to the property three doors to the north, it's got an equal 2-car garage. It has the exact same building footprint. Mine would be a 1,031 square feet. Theirs is 1,020 square feet. Neither of us have anything going on in the basement. So our overall square footage would be equivalent at 2,500. And then additionally, my lot is actually a smaller than average lot at 35.5 feet instead of 42 feet. And in current market conditions along Bryant Avenue, there's probably more of an appetite to buy houses to tear them down, and a 7-foot reduction in your lot size has significant devaluing of the property.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments from board members?
Yes, Mr. Chair. There may be a case here for adjusting the value, but we've received so little information. Just a couple of lines about a neighboring property and a few comments from the homeowner that we really don't have anything to go on here. So I guess I would, if we sustain this value, I would encourage the homeowner to move on to the next step and work with the assessor to see if they can provide some information that would be helpful to determine whether or not to lower the value.
Thank you. Are there any other comments or questions? We will now consider and act on the appeal of 3648 Bryant Avenue South. May I have a motion, please?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I move that we sustain the value for 3648 Bryant Avenue South at $427,000.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved by Bland, seconded by Chow to sustain the 2021 estimated market value at $427,000. No objection to the motion. I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Board Member Bland,
Aye.
Board Member Badurtha,
Aye.
Board Member Chow,
Aye.
Chair Anderson.
Aye.
There are 4 ayes.
Thank you. That carries and the motion is adopted.
Board members, the next case is case 21-0444, a residential property located at 2943 DuPont Avenue North. This is a Mr. Mark Langmaid case again, and so you may take action sustaining the value for 2021 at $132,000.
Thank you. May I have a motion, please?
I move to sustain the value at $132,000.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved by Badurtha, seconded by Chow, to sustain the 2021 estimated market value at $132,000. There's no objections to the motion. I ask the clerk to call the roll.
Board Member Bland,
Aye.
Board Member Badurtha,
Aye.
Board Member Chow,
Aye.
Chair Anderson.
Aye.
There are 4 ayes.
That carries and the motion is adopted.
Board members, the next case is 21-0445, a double bungalow located at 1915 6th Street Northeast. It's found on page 555 of your packet. The original 2021 estimated market value is $328,000. The property owner is on the call, Mr. Farstead. You will need to press *6 to unmute. Please state your name and your property address, and you may have up to 5 minutes to present your case to the board. Thank you.
Yeah, this is Ben Farstead, 1915 6th Street Northeast. And as you can see from my packet, I didn't have a lot of time to prepare for this. I was actually planning on going to the June 14th due to the pandemic, and I'm not fully vaccinated, but by chance I called Matthew Banker and he told me about this teleconference, so I'm going to give it a try here. In the last 2 years, my property has gone up market value by $95,000. Went from $225,000 to $320,000. So that's the reason I'm calling. I did happen to find a house, basically a minute walk from my house, which is pretty comparable, 612 19th Avenue Northeast. It's a 5-bedroom, so it has 1 bedroom more than mine. Comparable square footage. It just sold last month, March 19th, for $279,900. Again, it has 1 more bedroom than mine. It has 2 full baths. I've got 2, I believe they're called 3/4 baths, where you just have the walk-in stall. I went down and I looked at the property. It has a newer roof. My roof is at least 20 years old. And it has modern windows, which still have some of the original windows on mine. So those are some of the big things that I could just see by eyeballing it and looking at realtor.com.
Okay, do you have any additional comments you want to make?
Yeah, there's some other things too that I think you should know. When I did talk to Matthew Banker, he explained to me, I really didn't have any experience with any of this, and he explained to me that basically he's looking at square footage, type of house, number of bedrooms. And when I did start looking on realtor.com, I did see that it seemed like his assessment was pretty fair. But, you know, mostly the big prices came up with houses that had original woodwork, original molding around the windows, original baseboards, stained glass. This isn't that kind of house. This house had been gutted at one time. There's none of the final things that people like with these old houses. In addition, I've got at least a 30-year-old furnace. I've got some original plumbing. As I said, some original windows. I'm going to need some foundation work. I have an old roof. There's just a lot of things that are going to need to be done with this property. And what I found in my limited search, this property, 612 19th Avenue Northeast, may be a little bit better than mine, but it's the closest one I found to the condition that my house is in. And again, it went for $279,900.
Okay, thank you. I'll open
I
up.
would be willing to send pictures, anything like that you guys need.
The board hears your case with what's been presented in the 5-minute allotment today. There is a second phase of this after we vote. If you're not satisfied, that you can work with the assessor and hopefully get someone out, and you'll have time to prepare and get a few more comparable properties in which to utilize. I'll open it up to board members now if they have any additional questions.
Mr. Chair, Mr. Farstad, I realize you had very little time to prepare. And so as a result of that, we really have no helpful information that we can use to adjust your property value. But as Chair
what would be
Anderson,
helpful then, so that I know for the next
okay,
meeting, what specifically are you looking for?
If you'd let me finish, please. Thank
Sure.
you. You know, we really need to see things that that give us in writing some evidence of why that particular value is something you think, not just this house sold for this and this house sold for that. Houses are different. They're not exactly alike. They need to be compared in various ways.
That's kind of my
So
point.
given the fact that you didn't really have time to prepare, more than likely, I'm going to vote that we sustain this value and suggest that you move on to the next step where you can work with the assessor and get together information that can help the assessor determine what the value of your property should be.
Okay, and are you referring to Matthew Banker as the assessor there?
If that is who is assigned to your case, yes.
Yeah, okay.
So, Mr. Chair, given that I vote, or I move that we sustain the value at this property of $328,000.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved by Bland, seconded by Chow to sustain the 2021 estimated market value at $328,000. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Board Member Bland,
Aye.
Board Member Bedurtha,
Aye.
Board Member Chow,
Aye.
Chair Anderson.
Aye.
There are 4 ayes.
That carries and the motion is adopted.
Board members, the next case is 21-0446, a residential property at 1321 Knox Avenue North. Found on page 561 of your packet. This is another Mr. Mark Langmaid property. The original 2021 estimated market value is $133,000. The board can go ahead and take action to sustain the value at Mr. Langmaid's request.
Thank you. May I have a motion?
I move to sustain the value at $133,000.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved by Bodertha, seconded by Chow to sustain the 2021 estimated market value at $133,000. If there's any discussion on the motion, if not, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Board Member Bland,
Aye.
Board Member Bedertha,
Aye.
Board Member Chow,
Aye.
Chair Anderson.
Aye.
There are 4 ayes.
That carries and the motion is adopted. Thank you.
The next case is 21-0447, a condominium property located at 317 Groveland Avenue, unit number 213, found on page 568 of your packet. The original 2021 estimated market value is $273,000. The property owner, Jordan Nelson, is on the line. If the property owner would please press *6. Please state your name and address, and then you may present your case to the board. You have up to 5 minutes. Thank you.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Jordan Nelson. I'm the homeowner at 317 Groveland Avenue, Unit 213. It's about a 950 square foot condo right up next to Highway 94, kind of where it dips down before it goes into the tunnel. I was looking at the property values of the other units that have sold in this condo residential community lately. And maybe a year or a year and a half ago, we were getting close to the number that was recently assessed. But recently, I took a look at the most frequently sold or most recently sold 3 condominiums, all 1 bedrooms like mine is, and 2 of the most recently sold were larger with a second bathroom. Mine is a 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom unit. And the average of those properties that sold most recently, I believe this is in the packet that you have. The average price was $245,750 for the 3 most recent 1 bedroom condos that have sold. Currently, there's 2 1-bedroom properties listed. Let's see, on the same floor as me. They've been listed from about either 2 weeks all the way up to about 2 or 3 months at the price of $250,000, and neither of them have received any offers. Let's see, that's unit 207 and 204. Those are the 2 that are listed. The 3 that recently sold are unit 404, unit 704, and unit 609, all units that are higher than my second floor unit. And those are the ones that have averaged $245,750. So a number of units have sold for substantially lower than the appraised value. The 2 that are currently listed are listed at substantially lower without being able to find a buyer. And my neighbor directly next to me with the exact same floor plan has owned this unit for, I think, since the building was built 10, 15 years ago. And that unit was put on the market about 3 months ago at $280,000. It has an extra garage stall than mine, so I don't know if that's about $15,000 or $25,000 more in the downtown market. It was put on at $280,000, was reduced to $270,000, reduced to $265,000, and my neighbor took it off the market about 2 or 3 weeks ago because he wasn't able to find a buyer at all. So he's looking at maybe renting it out if he can. We're limited on when we can rent our properties out based on who else is renting in this building. So I guess I didn't add the MLS numbers in some of those recent ones, but I have those, or I can get those in the next couple of minutes if you would like those for the recently sold ones and then the currently listed ones. My request, I guess, would be, I'll wrap this up here, hopefully I'm not over my 5 minutes, is instead of the 273, that it be brought down to I believe 245 is what I had. Yeah, 245,000. Oh, the one last thing, we have some structural damage in our building and we're all being assessed a substantial amount this summer. The concrete of all of our balconies is crumbling and needs structural engineering, resurfacing. We need to grind off the top. And then, so that's, for my unit, it's estimated at about $2,500 of work this summer that will be incurring. And then also the pond, the drainage swamp area behind our building between us and the highway that we're responsible for. We're also having structural engineers estimate how much that will cost to reline and then redo the brickwork around it. So some bigger work coming up with costs associated there.
Well, thank you very much. I'll open it up to the board for questions and comments.
Mr. Nelson, what is your view out your window?
My view is the highway.
Okay, thank you.
It was when the highway was closed for curfew the last few days, I finally had a little bit of quiet. But yeah, I wish I could send you a picture right now. I'm about, I would guess, maybe 15 feet from the off ramp going from 94 westbound, the Hennepin-Lendale exit.
Did you have a
picture? I have a mental picture. You don't need to send me one.
Okay, thank you.
Did you have a show the other night when the car collided with the guardrail and burst into flames?
Yes, it looked absolutely terrible. I never heard if anyone was injured, but I was hoping.
I haven't heard either, but the video footage was quite striking. Probably
I see
could
a lot of
your...
things out my window. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. I think the top thing was last summer and last May and June, early June, the protesters when they were coming along the highway. I thought, wow, there's a lot of folks coming along the highway there. Sorry, I digress.
Thank you. Are there any other questions or comments from board members? If not, we'll now consider an act on the appeal for 317 Groveland Avenue, number 213. May I have a motion, please?
Mr. Chair, I find I have to agree with Mr. Nelson that 273 is more than reasonable value. So I would move that we reduce the value to last year's value, $245,000.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved by Bland, seconded by Chow to decrease the 2021 estimated market value to $245,000. If there is no discussion on the motion, I will ask the clerk to call the roll.
Board Member Bland,
Aye.
Board Member Bedertha,
Aye.
Board Member Chow,
Aye.
Chair Anderson.
Aye.
There are 4 ayes.
Thank you. That carries and the motion is adopted.
Board
Thank you
mem-
for hearing my case. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Board members, moving on to case 21-0448, a condominium property located at 2840 Bryant Avenue South, number 301. This is located on page 579 of your packet. And the property owners are on the call. The original value is $541,000. Property owners, you may press *6 to unmute. Please state your name and your property address and present your case to the board. You have up to 5 minutes. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Stephen Liss, and I'm here with Carol Chomsky, the co-owners of our unit at 2840 Bryant Avenue South, Unit E301. The appeal is based on a pretty straightforward market value argument. We purchased the condo in February of 2020, closed in April. The purchase price was $559,000, which included 2 garage stalls that were each appraised at $18,000. So if you back off the $36,000 from our purchase price, the value of the condo itself should be $523,000 rather than the $541,000 as assessed. That is our basic argument. I looked at one unit that's comparable to ours, and I thought it was listed at $565,000. I just looked again, and it seemed like it was listed last summer at $575,000. but it was unable to sell. It was taken off the market after it had been on the market all fall. And I don't know if you look at things like Zillow or Realtor.com, but they list it as value of $558,000, including the two garage stalls that come with that. So that is our argument. We've been hit with an additional assessment of $54,000, but I was told because that's coming this year, that wouldn't impact the valuation for the current year. So that is our argument, and hope you'll consider our actual purchase price as the market value.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments from board members? Just from my review of appraisal from March of 2020, the appraisal amount was $565,000. So if you take out $36,000 for the garage, you're at $529,000, not counting any appreciation for the remainder of the year. Any other thoughts?
So yeah, that was the initial appraisal for the bank. As I say, we were arguing for 523 based on the actual price.
Okay, thank you. If the board has no other questions or comments, we'll consider and act on the appeal for 2840 Bryant Avenue South, number 301. May I have a motion, please?
I move that we adjust the value from 541,000 to 530,000.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved by Bland, seconded by Boerdertha to decrease the 2021 estimated market value to $530,000. If there's no discussion on the motion, I will ask the clerk to call the roll.
Board Member Bland,
Aye.
Board Member Boerdertha,
Aye.
Board Member Chow,
Aye.
Chair Anderson.
Aye.
There are 4 ayes.
That carries and the motion is adopted. Thank you.
Thank you, members.
Board members, the next case for you is case 21-0473. It's a residential property located at 4243 Wentworth Avenue. It's found on page 586 of your packet. The original 2021 estimated market value was $343,000. The property owner is on the line. And so, Ms. Franchett, you just need to press *6 to unmute. Please state your name and your property address, and you may present your case to the board. You have up to 5 minutes.
Thank you. Good afternoon, board members. My name is Lisa Franchett, and I live at 4243 Wentworth Avenue South. I appreciate this opportunity to speak with you. I am concerned about the price of my property, primarily when I look at the sales in my neighborhood over the last 2 years, but really the last year. My home, and I sent in a couple pictures. I don't know if you actually got those pictures, but the front of my house, it's not one of the most attractive homes on the block. It's got white vinyl siding, whereas like the other homes are stucco or, you know, wood. They're the what's it called? I can't remember. There's the real estate's use a name about the street view or the street value is really not high because it has at some point, maybe in the 1900s, it had a front porch and then they kind of closed it in, and so it's kind of funky. The front door is in a funny place. It's still got the old copper piping that the city has told me I'm going to need to replace. It has no original woodwork or molding, unlike a lot of the houses on the street. there was a home of actually good friends of mine that sold in February of this year, just down the block, same side of the street. It had total square foot of 1,682 square feet, and it sold for $372,000 at, for a total of $221 per square foot. There was also a house that sold just a month or so ago at 4300 Blaisdell, just around the corner from here. Very similar home, 1,400 square feet, sold for $301,000 at a total of $213 per square foot. Another home just on the other side of the street, 4115 Blaisdell, sold for $220,000 at $214 per square foot. At the proposed value that's been put forth for my home, it would be at $232 per square foot. So significantly higher than homes that have been sold, in this neighborhood that are very comparable. And again, my house is very much, we have done no renovations. So it's pretty like, somebody's going to walk in and see the 1950s bathrooms, etc. So it just strikes me that that this proposed value is really higher than what things have been selling for on a square footage basis. At the old value of $326,000, that averaged $221 per square foot, which actually is higher than it's higher than all those prices of homes that I just cited to you, recent sales in my neighborhood. So on that basis, I would like the board to consider maintaining the property value of my home at what it currently was, $326,500. And the roof is, I guess I didn't mention, the roof is old. Yeah, I guess I've mentioned everything else.
Thank you. I will open up to board members for questions and comments. Do any board members have any questions or comments?
Mr. Chair, there's really very little data here for us to go on. And again, Ms. Franchette may have a case, I don't know, but I can't make that decision based on what we have and what we heard. Just simply citing addresses and square footage numbers don't give us helpful information. So I would probably vote to sustain the value and encourage her to move on to the next step, where she can work with the assessor and get some better information to work with and have it determine whether or not her value can be adjusted. And with that, I would propose a motion that we sustain the value of the property at $343,000.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you. It's been moved by Bland, seconded by Bodertha to sustain the 2021 estimated market value at $343,000. If there's no discussion on the motion, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Board Member Bland,
Aye.
Board Member Bodertha,
Aye.
Board Member Chow,
Aye.
Chair Anderson.
Aye.
There are 4 ayes.
Thank you. That carries and the motion is adopted.
Board members, we are moving down into the next hearing session. We did reach out to some of the property owners that are further down on the agenda, and they were able to join us early. So we are, I know this is somewhat challenging when we skip around, so I apologize for that. We are going to move to case 21-0451, located on page 604 of your packet. What you get there. The property address is 2305 52nd Street West. The property owner is Joseph Schroeder. Mr. Schroeder is on the call, and you will just need to press *6 to unmute. Please state your name and your property address, and you may present your case to the board, and you have up to 5 minutes.
Okay, good afternoon. If you can hear me, my name is Joseph Schrader. I'm the property owner at 2305 52nd Street West in Minneapolis. The appraised value for 2020 was $885 with an increase to $954 for the 2021. I guess for the tax year. I guess general comments in terms of the lot. The square footage on the lot, as you may notice, is relatively large, but it's listed as an improved hillside. I mean, it slopes down towards the creek, and there's little or no improvable land. The driveway is gravel, that's unimproved. The house is the oldest one in the neighborhood. It was built in 1908. It's listed as and is a 1.5 story, so there are dormers on the upper floor to the bedrooms. There has been no renovations in the last 3 years, as noted there. And then just some miscellaneous comments. It's on the corner of Penn Avenue and 52nd or 52nd Street, which is a busy thoroughfare between the crosstown and the 50th Street business areas. There are some retaining walls and some steps below the house that are in significant need of repair. And then if you look at, I supplied a couple of different forms of information. One of them was, just basically a simple plot of what's been going on in the neighborhood and up and down the street. The valuations for the other neighboring properties has all been relatively flat, with the exception of 2323 West 52nd Street. That's had a modest increase in value. But in terms of the general neighborhood, valuations have been very flat over the last really 3 to 4 years. And I don't see why our house should vary versus the rest of the neighborhood. And then I supplied a number of references to other 4-bed, 4-bath homes that either sold last fall or are currently on the market right now. And generally speaking, those homes fall into the category of, $825 to about $900,000 for sale values. And while I would say that, maybe our lot size is a little bigger maybe than some of those what I would list as comparables, I think that's more than compensated by the fact that we're on a busy street corner with Penn Avenue, and compensated by the lack of sort of yard space because it is a hillside down to the creek. The house directly across the street from us on 5201 Penn started out with an original listing of $625. It eventually sold for $535, and that took a significant drop in valuation in the last year to adjust down. So again, the notion that some of the houses in the neighborhood have been overassessed over the last few years is, I would say, consistent with that observation as well. I think you've got the rest of the info. I guess I don't feel like I need to go through the specific houses that I provided for comparables unless someone has questions about how I picked those or why I thought they were comparables. But I would ask for a lessening of the assessment down, closer to, under 900, 1,000.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll open up to the board for questions. I'll have one to start it. Your home backs up to Minnehaha Creek?
Yes, there was an assessment or an easement taken I believe back in the 70s So the original yard and space was diminished quite a bit back then. And so there's some foot traffic that goes behind our house along the creek. Yep.
Oh, okay, thank you. And then also your home borders Penn Avenue on the east?
Yes, so Penn Avenue is on the east. So we had a special assessment for the road when that was done a few years ago, and an assessment when they did 52nd Street as well a few years back.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other questions from board members?
Mr. Anderson, I am quite familiar with this house because I know the neighborhood fairly well. And yes, it does back to the creek. What interests me here is that the land value and the structure value are the same as the city has determined. So a lot of the value in that house is in the land. Based on that, I don't feel qualified to make an assessment here of value, and would think that that could be something that the homeowner could move on to the next step and work with the assessor. Because according to the picture he sent and remarks he made, there's it's a steep lot, I know that. And there's some maintenance that needs to be done with retaining walls and whatnot. So I would encourage him to move on to the next step. And in order to do that, I would sustain the value.
Okay, and reviewing the comps, I didn't see any that actually backed up to the creek or fronted on the creek.
Yes, some of the comps were pretty far afield. So as a realtor making a determination, very few of those comps, if any, would have been ones that I would have chosen if I had any other choices to make.
Okay, thank you. If there is, oh, go ahead, sir.
I guess I'm not a realtor, but I did pick comps that were all within, I would say, 10 blocks of our house. I mean, 55th and Thomas, is one. I guess I don't. 53rd and Oliver, a couple of them on 55th and Oliver. I mean, those are all neighborhood homes. I guess I would argue that they're all in the neighborhood. 53rd and Abbott is not too far away.
We're not disputing that. It's just that they don't back up to the creek or front the creek, which is a significant difference.
And can I just ask, is that a plus for me, or are you looking at that as a negative?
Fronting or backing up the creek is considered a very, very big plus. Having a natural view of a water feature is considered highly desirable.
Okay. And again, none of the neighboring properties have had any increase over the last 4 years.
Okay, I can't speak to that. Are there any other questions or comments from board members here?
Yes, Mr. Schrader, I would like to be able to preserve your ability to move on to the next step to work with the assessor. Because I don't feel qualified to make a judgment here based on the information that I have. All I know is that your land is valued very highly. As Mr. Anderson pointed out, any frontage, whether it goes right down to the creek or lake or whatever, is a value as opposed to houses that aren't in that type of location. So in order to preserve your ability to move on to the next step, I would suggest that we sustain the value.
Okay, and then what's the next process for me?
You'll be getting instructions, I believe, in the mail. Is that right, Ms. Malmquist, about what his next step would be?
That's correct. Mr. Schrader, this is Rebecca Malmquist, Interim City Assessor. So the next steps are that if the board sustains your value or whatever they decide to do with your value, we will notify you via letter next week. The letter will include instructions about how to proceed with the next steps. You will continue to work with our appraisal staff that's very familiar with your neighborhood and your property. And if you're able to come to a resolution of value, if staff feels that the property is overvalued and you agree with that, We simply bring that before the county board as a concurrence, as we call it. If you disagree with staff's determination, you are able to bring your case to the County Board of Appeal and Equalization. And that does,
Okay.
they do not convene until June, so there's adequate time in between.
Okay, thank you.
We've expired our time. We will now consider an act on the appeal for 2305 52nd Street West. May I have a motion, please?
I move to sustain the value of $954,000.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
It's moved by Bland, seconded by Chow, to sustain the 2021 estimated market value at $954,000. There's no discussion on the motion. I will ask the clerk to call the roll.
Board Member Bland,
Aye.
Board Member Bedertha,
Aye.
Board Member Chow,
Aye.
Chair Anderson.
Aye.
There are 4 ayes.
That carries and the motion is adopted.
Board members, we are going to move to the next case. This property owner has, I believe it's approximately 8 parcels that you're going to hear about. We are going to hear the first one, and then we are probably likely going to go back to the top of this hearing session once that caller's on the line, just so that because they were supposed to be first in line, we're just waiting for them to join. So we are on to case 21-0452. It's an apartment property located at 2742 Hennepin Avenue. I am going to just pull up the rest of the information. Excuse me there. It's on page 623 of your packet. The property owner is Mr. James Osland. The 2021 estimated market value is $1,701,000. Mr. Osland, you can go ahead and press *6 to unmute. Please state your name and address for the record, and then you may proceed with presenting your appeal to the board. You have up to 5 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. My name is James Osland. I am presenting on 2742 Hennepin. Everybody can hear me okay?
Yes, we can. Please proceed.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so this is a 12-unit apartment building, early 1970s build. And in looking at this, I sort of looked at it from the income approach and a little bit from the sales comparables approach as well. And the main thing here, and all the other 7 that I'm presenting, kind of the main theme is the uptick in vacancy that we did experience during 2020, especially starting later in Q2 and then through Q3 and 4, due to a lot of factors, including the pandemic and unrest. So this property in particular, I think we were getting closer to the 10 to 15% vacancy near the end of the year. We did, if you look at the profit and loss statements, we still were up a little bit on our top line numbers and our revenue, but we did see a decrease in net operating income, and that was due to more turnover work. We did also kind of across the board have property insurance rates go up in kind of that 10 to 15% range as well, which has compressed our net numbers. This property in particular, being right along Hennepin Avenue where it is, did have some direct negative impact due to the unrest over the summer. It wasn't as much vandalism at the building as it was several residents moving out as a direct result of it. So just kind of finishing up with income approach, you know, I think our NOI was about $70,877 for 2020, which was down a little bit. And I kind of raised it back up just to do an analysis to kind of look at a more stabilized one up to 76.5, and applying a pretty aggressive cap rate at 5%. That's where I was coming out with $1,530,000. As far as sales comparables, there was one that really did catch my eye that was about 8 or 9 blocks to the north.
It's actually two apartment buildings, 1907 to 1915 Colfax Avenue South, and that sold September 1, 2020. So the two apartment buildings, there was one, the one that's at 1907 itself is a 21 unit that was similar vintage, I think late 60s. That one, if you kind of break it out and look at that whole property, I was coming out with that one selling at about $113,857 a unit. The aggregate on the whole for that comp was $97 a unit, but the building at 1917, the 15 unit was a smaller studio type building. So kind of going off that as the comp, and then given the fact our property has more 2-bedroom units, which would cause an upward adjustment of that comp, that kind of circles back to $127,500 a unit for the subject, which comes back to that number just above $1.5 million on that. So that's what I have for supporting information on this one.
Thank you. I'll open it up to the board members for questions and comments here. I'm afraid for myself, the 5 minutes isn't enough to analyze properties of this level in detail, but if any other board members want to comment, please go ahead.
So I have quite a bit of experience of apartment buildings in this area, and I would agree that 2020 was kind of a challenging year in that immediate area with not only COVID, but the social unrest and stuff like that. And I've seen values kind of decrease in pockets of Minneapolis, but it's kind of hard in this setting to determine what the proper value is on your building without a more thorough analysis. And so I'm thinking having an assessor really delve deeper into the valuation might be appropriate. But definitely I'm seeing values in certain pockets have decreased. So
thank you for that interpretation. Are there any other questions or comments? Hearing none, we'll now consider an act on the appeal for 2742 Hennepin Avenue. May I have a motion, please?
I would move to sustain the value and encourage the property owner to take it to the next step to work with the assessor to get a more thorough, in-depth look on the specific property.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Been moved by Chow, seconded by Bodertha to sustain the 2021 estimated market value at $1,701,000. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Board Member Bland,
Aye.
Board Member Bodertha,
Aye.
Board Member Chow,
Aye.
Chair Anderson.
Aye.
There are 4 ayes.
That carries and the motion is adopted. Rebecca?
Board members, it looks like Ms. Gleason has joined us, so we are just going to back up to case 21-0449, a residential property located at 4819 29th Avenue South. I'm on the wrong page in my PDF here, sorry. The property owner is on the line, looking on page 592. The 2021 market value is $217,000. Ms. Gleason, if you would press *6 to unmute, please state your name and the property address, and you can present your case to the board. You have up to 5 minutes.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Please proceed.
Okay. Yes, my name is Anastasia Gleason. The address of the property is 4819 29th Avenue South. And what I have done so far in reviewing the proposed tax amount of $217,000 is look at comparables in the area in the same zip code. This is a property that's under 1,000 square feet. It's 700 square feet, which has a slightly lower GLA, which I understand is used by the assessors board. But it is a size property that has a very narrow market segment of buyers that are interested in properties below 1,000 square feet. So looking at some of the 2020 values in that area, I would say most of them that are under that 1,000 square feet and in that range of 700 square feet or lower have sold at below the $200,000 mark. I don't think it follows this size of property, and these characteristics don't follow, I think, the general trend for the larger properties that have a wider market appeal. So for that reason, I think I included in the information that I sent in the appeal several addresses of similarly sized properties that sold in 2020. Some of them, the ones that I pulled out of there, were 5035 36th Avenue South at 624 square feet that sold in November of 2020 at $172,000. There was 5409 31st Avenue South, 570 square feet that sold in April of 2020 for $177,000. 5548 26th Avenue South that sold at $197,500 in October of 2020. So my belief is that that property at its current tax assessment value is appropriate for 2021. I should also note that this property does not have a basement, as many of these other properties do. It doesn't have a finished or an unfinished basement. It has a crawl space where the electricals are housed.
Okay, thank you. Board members, do you have any questions or comments? Ms. Gleason. Board members, do you have any questions or comments for the property owner here?
Chair Anderson, I'm prepared to make a motion.
Okay, go ahead.
I would move that we reduce the value from $217,000 to $200,000.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
It's been moved by Bland, seconded by Bodertha to decrease the 2021 estimated market value to $200,000. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Board Member Bland,
Aye.
Board Member Bedertha,
Aye.
Board Member Chow,
Aye.
Chair Anderson.
Aye.
There are 4 ayes.
That carries and the motion is adopted. Rebecca?
Board members, moving to the next case, also represented by Ms. Gleason, is case 210450, found on page 598, 4905 Woodlawn Boulevard. The original 2021 estimated market value is $446,000. You may proceed, Ms. Gleason.
Thank you. Should I repeat my name and the address?
Yes, please.
Yes. Okay. My name is Anastasia Gleason. I am the property owner for the case that we are discussing, which is 4905 Woodlawn Boulevard. This one is may be a little bit more difficult and more straightforward at the same time. When I reached out to the assessor for some information about how the new valuation was made, he was unable to provide me with any comparables that he used in making the assessment. His comment was that the 3% just seemed reasonable given the what the property markets have done over the past year, 18 months. And that is actually quite true in looking at similar properties that have sold recently in 2020, that there aren't very many available that share the same characteristics as my home on Woodlawn Boulevard in terms of square footage and location. So I can really talk about what has changed since the 2019 assessment, so that the house was reassessed in 2019 for that 2019 tax period at $431,000. And what has changed since that assessment is that there have been 2 additional years of life against the some of the basic systems in the house I'm referring mostly to HVAC and plumbing. So this house has not been updated for many years. It has not been updated since that 2019 assessment, and 2 more years beyond the useful life of those elements has transpired. When anyone looks at a listing for a home, when something has been updated, new HVAC system or recently updated HVAC system, roof, plumbing, those are all mentioned as top-line items to support the market value that is being asked, or the sales price value. It's the same is to be expected from buyers when they make a purchase at considering what will need to be updated in the home. And I'm not talking about cosmetic updates like painting or flooring or window treatments. These are elements that are necessary for the survivability and the sustainability of the home. So these systems, both the boiler, heating, cooling, boiler, water heater, all of those systems are well past their useful life of 15 years. They are over 20 years, and they will need to be replaced in the near future. I would also include plumbing in that area, since the plumbing has not been updated, and that is also beyond its useful life. So we're looking at a very significant investment that will need to be made, I would say, over the next few years, but have not been made yet, that any buyer would consider in the sales price of that home. The value that I think is being placed on this home at the moment does reflect the potential that the home has, but not the actual situation. What has also changed in the past year or so is that the cost of making these renovations in terms of labor cost, materials have also, because of COVID primarily, supply chains have been disrupted. Factory shutdowns have meant that the materials that would be used in these particular renovations have also increased. So while property values, we can say, have increased, so have the costs of making some of these very fundamental, basic renovations. In one article that I read, it said, consider that things will cost 50% more and probably take 50% more time. In light of that, and the fact that the tax amount should reflect the actual situation of the home, I do not think it is appropriate to raise the taxable value of the home at this time prior to making those types of renovations that will be needed very shortly and would be considered in any buyer's calculation in making a purchase of this particular home at this particular time.
Thank you, Ms. Gleason. Unfortunately, every house, the mechanicals age at the same rate, or generally the same rate. And we need to look at comparable sales and other justification for determining value in the short time that we have to review these properties. I would suggest that if you're not accepting our decision here, that you move on to the next level and provide some more detail to the assessor to aid their research. And with that, I'll open it up for the rest of the board if they have any questions. One other thought, we have had about 16% appreciation in this area in the last 2 years. So based on the 2019 assessment, if we added 16% to that, we'd be well above the 446.
May I make one comment
Sure.
there? Yeah, I did look through when the assessor was not able to provide me with any comparables or didn't have them available to provide me. I did look at the other homes on my same block to see how that assessed value, and there wasn't really an established pattern. There were some that had gone up, some that had gone down, some that had stayed the same. So it was unclear to me how to determine whether there was simply a straight, okay, let's apply a percentage across the board. There didn't appear to be that approach that was taken in this area.
It's a complex algorithm that takes into many different aspects. So being that all the houses on Woodlawn, very few look alike, they will be treated differently by the system. And when people are not in agreement, that's what this appeal process is for. But again, if you're not accepting what the board decides here today, you have the right to move on to another level and provide more detail.
What detail would you
The
suggest?
assessor, they'll provide a written letter to you with information,
okay.
and you can work with the assessor to get the information that you need and the time that you need to get this done.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. With that, are there any other questions or comments from the board? Without any,
Hello, Mr. Chair. Given that the purchase price of this property was $430,000 in October of 2018, there certainly have been increases on homes that have had nothing done to them in that amount of time. So I'm actually quite comfortable with the increase in the value, and I would vote that we sustain it at $446,000.
would you put that in the form of a motion, please?
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought I did. I move that we sustain the value at $446,000.
Thank you.
Second that.
It's been moved by Bland, seconded by Bodertha to sustain the 2021 estimated market value at $446,000. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Board Member Bland,
Aye.
Board Member Bedertha,
Aye.
Board Member Chow,
Aye.
Chair Anderson.
Aye.
There are 4 ayes.
That carries and the motion is adopted.
Board members, we are moving back down to the properties represented by Mr. Osland. Case number 21-0453, an apartment property located at 2108 Pleasant Avenue. It is on page 636 of your packet. Then Mr. Osland, you just need to unmute again by pressing *6. Please state your name and the property address for the record, and you may proceed. You have up to 5 minutes.
Thank you. This is James Osland again. The address 2108 Pleasant Avenue. So the case is actually going to be fairly similar to 2742 Hennepin, which all of these are. So I guess, you know, given that it's only 5 minutes here, I mean, I can go through and present them all, or, you know, I can kind of move on and continue to work with the assessor, which it sounds like maybe given the complexity of the cases that is sort of what the board was thinking anyhow.
Yes, agreed.
Okay, in that case, I'm comfortable with this one and the remaining 6, if, just to save time for everybody, if we, push those through, and I'll continue to work with the assessor on them.
I'm sure they'll be happy to work with you on that. I believe that a number of landlords in the city are experiencing the same hardship that you are, and hopefully they'll take that into consideration.
All right, well, thank you for your time today, and I will continue working with them.
Thank you. With that, we'll take action on 2108 Pleasant Avenue South. May I have a motion?
I move to sustain the value at $5,544,000.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I second that.
It's been moved by Chow, seconded by Bodertha to sustain the 2021 assessed market value at $5,544,000. $5,544,000. I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Board Member Bland,
Aye.
Board Member Bedertha,
Aye.
Board Member Chow,
Aye.
Chair Anderson.
Aye.
There are 4 ayes.
That carries and the motion is adopted.
Chair Anderson and board members, that brings us to case 21-0454. It is an apartment property located at 610 Franklin Avenue West, found on page 650 of your packet. The original 2021 estimated market value is $5,500,000. And according to Mr. Osland, you can go ahead and take action.
Thank you. May I have a motion, please?
I move to sustain the value at $5,500,000.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved by Chow, seconded by Bland to sustain the 2021 estimated market value at $5,500,000. I will ask the clerk to call the roll.
Board Member Bland,
Aye.
Board Member Bedertha,
Aye.
Board Member Chow,
Aye.
Chair Anderson.
Aye.
There are 4 ayes.
That carries and the motion is adopted.
Board members, on to case 21-0455, an apartment property located at 2115 Blaisdell Avenue. Page number 667 in your packet. Again, as suggested or requested by Mr. Osland, you can go ahead and take action on this case. The original 2021 market value is $2,456,000.
Thank you. May I have a motion, please?
I move to sustain the value at $2,456,000.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Been moved by Bodertha, seconded by Chow to sustain the 2021 estimated market value at $2,456,000. We'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Board Member Bland,
Aye.
Board Member Bedertha,
Aye.
Board Member Chow,
Aye.
Chair Anderson.
Aye.
There are 4 ayes.
That carries and the motion is adopted.
Moving to case 21-0456, another apartment property located at 2617 3rd Avenue South. On page 676 of your packet, the original estimated market value for 2021 is $1,060,500. And as was suggested by Mr. Osland, you can proceed with action on this case.
May I have a motion, please?
I move to sustain the value at $1,060,500.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Been moved by Chow, seconded by Bodertha to sustain the 2021 estimated market value at $1,060,500. I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Board Member Bland,
Aye.
Board Member Bedertha,
Aye.
Board Member Chow,
Aye.
Chair Anderson.
Aye.
There are 4 ayes.
Thank you. That carries and the motion is adopted.
Case 21-0457, an apartment property located at 2621 3rd Avenue South. Found on page 685 of your packet. The original estimated market value for 2021 is $1,060,500. And as requested by Mr. Osland, the board can go ahead and take action.
Thank you. May I have a motion, please?
I move to sustain the value at $1,060,500.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I second that.
Been moved by Chow, seconded by Bodertha to sustain the 2021 estimated market value at $1,060,500. We'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Board Member Bland,
Aye.
Board Member Bodertha,
Aye.
Board Member Chow,
Aye.
Chair Anderson.
Aye.
There are 4 ayes.
That carries and the motion is adopted.
Case number 21-0458, an apartment property located at 2829 Park Avenue, found on page 694 of your packet. The original 2021 estimated market value is $1,457,500. And as was requested by Mr. Osland, the board can go ahead and sustain and take action.
Thank you. May I have a motion, please?
I move to sustain the value of $1,457,500.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Been moved by Bodertha, seconded by Chow to sustain the 2021 estimated market value at $1,457,500. I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Board Member Bland,
Aye.
Board Member Bodertha,
Aye.
Board Member Chow,
Aye.
Chair Anderson.
Aye.
There are 4 ayes.
That carries and the motion is adopted.
Board members, case number 21-0459, an apartment property at 3725 Cedar Avenue on page 703 in your packet. The original estimated market value was $4,243,500. And as was requested by Mr. Osland, the board can go ahead and take action sustaining the value.
Great. May I have a motion, please?
I move to sustain the value at $4,243,500.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
It's moved by Chow, seconded by Bodertha to sustain the 2021 estimated market value at $4,243,500. I will ask the clerk to call the roll.
Board Member Bland,
Aye.
Board Member Bodertha,
Aye.
Board Member Chow,
Aye.
Chair Anderson.
Aye.
There are 4 ayes.
Thank you. That carries and the motion is adopted.
Board members, moving to case 21-0460, a residential property located at 5244 28th Avenue South. This property owner did not respond to staff's request to schedule a phone-in or write-in appeal. This is found on page 713 of your packet. The original 2021 estimated market value is $285,000.
Thank you. No comps were provided as well, so I suggest we just take action on it. If anyone's willing to make a motion.
I move to sustain the value at $285,000.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Been moved by Bland, seconded by Chow to sustain the 2021 estimated market value at $285,000. I will ask the clerk to call the roll.
Board Member Bland,
Aye.
Board Member Bodertha,
Aye.
Board Member Chow,
Aye.
Chair Anderson.
Aye.
There are 4 ayes.
That carries and the motion is adopted.
Board members, case 21-0461, a residential property located at 6104 Upton Avenue South, found on page 719 in your packet. The original 2021 estimated market value is $416,000. The property owners are on the call, so if you would please press *6 to unmute, state your name, the property address, and proceed with presenting your appeal to the board. You have up to 5 minutes to complete. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Michael McFarland, and I'm here to talk about 6104 Upton Avenue South. Can everyone hear me?
Yes. Yes, we can.
Okay.
Please proceed.
Okay, thank you. So my wife and I just purchased this house in January of this year, and we purchased it for $400,000, which is lower than the estimate of $416,000. And additionally, looking at the listings for the house, which started in October last year, the original selling price or listed price was $425,000. There were no bids at that price, so then it was decreased to $415,000. Again, no bids at that price. It was decreased to $410,000. Again, there were no bids, so they decreased it to $400,000, and that's the point at which my wife and I bid. So I believe the actual value of the house is $400,000.
Thank you. Any additional comments, or the recent sale is fairly compelling? So any other comments by board members or questions?
Well, my comment would be that there was an entire year that went by and we know that there was a lot of upward pressure in prices in the area. So this was purchased for $400,000 in January. I would say by December, it probably would have sold for more.
I'm talking about this January. Like,
I'm sorry, I thought you meant January of 2020. I'm sorry.
No, I meant January of 2021.
Okay, thank you. All right.
I'm okay with this. If everyone else is, I'd look at a motion.
I move to reduce the 2021 estimated market value to 400,000.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved by Bodertha, seconded by Bland, to decrease the 2021 estimated market value to $400,000. I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Board Member Bland,
Aye.
Board Member Bodertha,
Aye.
Board Member Chow,
Aye.
Chair Anderson.
Aye.
There are 4 ayes.
Thank you. That carries in. The motion is adopted.
Very good, board members. So we are slightly ahead of schedule, and we are scheduled to have a brief break at about 3 o'clock. So I'm going to propose something to you, and we will see if you will agree with it. I'm going to suggest that we look at the next time frame, the cases between 3:15 and 4:15, and we go through the walk-ins and the non-responses, and we address those right now, take a short break, and then begin again at 3:15, hearing the remaining 5 phone-in cases. Are you agreeable to that?
I am. I suggested earlier that I will have to leave prior to 4 o'clock, so whatever we can do to expedite this would be great.
We can also begin calling property owners and see if they're able to join us slightly sooner, so we can get a little bit started a little bit sooner. Does that work for you?
Yes.
Okay, we will start on that. So if you will move with me to case 210463, it's a residential property located at 6037 Park Avenue. It's a write-in case. The owner chose to write in. It's located on page 753 of your packet. I'll let you move there. The 2021 original market value is $351,000.
Okay. There's no call-in on this one?
Chair Anderson, this is a write-in case. You will can just review what was provided and take board action.
Okay. According to my notes here, there was a recent sale for $375,000 in May of 2020. Is that correct?
Chair Anderson, I'm just getting to the right page here, and it does appear that on May 29th, 2020, there was a transaction for $375,000.
Okay, in my mind, there's not much else to discuss.
Well, Mr. Chair, we do have the option of raising the evaluation.
We do need to notify the seller in advance of it, or the homeowner in advance of that. So I would suggest that we just go with the indicated value.
In that case, I move that we sustain the value at $351,000.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I second that.
Thank you. It's been moved by Bland, seconded by Bodertha to sustain the 2021 estimated market value at $351,000. I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Board Member Bland,
Aye.
Board Member Bodertha,
Aye.
Board Member Chow,
Aye.
Chair Anderson.
Aye.
There are 4 ayes.
That carries and the motion is adopted.
Board members, moving ahead 2 cases to 21-0465. It is a residential property located at 40, oh, I'm sorry, I'm off a line. Case 0465, a condominium property located at 100 2nd Street Northeast, Unit A520. This is a write-in case. It's located on page 767 of your packet. The original 2021 market value is $569,000.
Thank you. I reviewed that package. There was an appraisal done in April of 2020 for $520,000. There's been a little bit of increase perhaps since then, but the condo market hasn't been as strong as the single family. I'm also very familiar with the building, so and have sold in it before. I would tend to agree with the applicant here. Not quite down to the $500,000 mark that they're looking for, more in line with the appraisal or slightly above it. Any other comments or questions?
I agree with that fact, Chair.
We'll now consider an act on the appeal for 100 2nd Street Northeast, A520. May I have a motion?
I move to reduce the value to $525,000.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved by Bodertha, seconded by Chow, to reduce or to decrease the 2021 estimated value to $525,000. I will ask the clerk to call the roll.
Board Member Bland,
Aye.
Board Member Bodertha,
Aye.
Board Member Chow,
Aye.
Chair Anderson.
Aye.
There are 4 ayes.
That carries and the motion is adopted.
Chair Anderson and board members, moving ahead one more case to 21-0466, residential property at 3531 Main Street Northeast. This property owner did not respond to our request to schedule a write-in or phone-in. It is on page 803 of your packet. The original 2021 estimated market value is $234,000.
Thank you. With the information provided by the applicant, there was an appraisal done in November of 2019 for $225,000. If I add even a modest 10% in appreciation since then, I would put the value at about $247,000. If anyone else has any other opinions on that or would like to share a comment, please proceed.
Mr. Chair, I move that we sustain the value of $234,000.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved by Bland, seconded by Chow to sustain the 2021 estimated market value at $234,000. I will ask the clerk to call the roll.
Board Member Bland,
Aye.
Board Member Bodertha,
Aye.
Board Member Chow,
Aye.
Chair Anderson.
Aye.
There are 4 ayes.
Thank you. That carries and the motion is adopted.
Board members, case number 21-0468 is an apartment property located at 5739 Boston Terrace. It is on page 843 of your packet. The original 2021 estimated market value is $645,000. This property owner did not respond to the request to schedule a write-in or phone-in appeal.
Reviewing what little documentation he provided, he said he tried to sell, but then did not provide any other additional information or comps. So unless there's any comments, I'll ask for a motion.
I move to sustain the value at $645,000.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved by Chow, seconded by Bland to sustain the 2021 estimated market value at $645,000. I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Board Member Bland,
Aye.
Board Member Bodertha,
Aye.
Board Member Chow,
Aye.
Chair Anderson.
Aye.
There are 4 ayes.
That carries and the motion is adopted.
Board members, moving to case 21-0469, a residential property at 1727 Newton Avenue North. Phone on page 849 of your packet. The original 2021 market value is $301,000. This is the same owner as the previous property or the previous case. Did not respond to staff's request to schedule a write-in or phone-in appeal.
Thank you. As far as I can tell, it's a rental, and the applicant did not provide any comparable data. Unless there's comments or questions by anyone, I would entertain a motion.
I move to sustain the value of $301,000.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved by Bland and seconded by Chow to sustain the 2021 estimated market value at $301,000. I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Board Member Bland,
Aye.
Board Member Bodertha,
Aye.
Board Member Chow,
Aye.
Chair Anderson.
Aye.
There are 4 ayes.
That carries and the motion is adopted.
And then board members, case 21-0470, a condominium property at 100 3rd Avenue South, Unit 1206. This is a write-in case, board members, and it is found on page 855 of your packet. The original 2021 estimated market value is $578,000.
Thank you. From reviewing the data provided by the homeowner or the applicant, the two of the comps suggest a value somewhere in the neighborhood of $5.25 to $5.35 perhaps. The other comps were too old, and I found them I'm not able to use them. The owner's been at the same valuation for the last, it looks like 3 years in a row, and it'll be the 4th year this year. And they're wanting it to be reduced to $515,000. Any questions or comments?
Mr. Chair, I would move that we reduce the value to $535,000.
Thank you. Is there a second to that?
I'll second that.
It's been moved by Bland, seconded by Chow to decrease the 2021 estimated market value to $535,000. I will ask the clerk to call the roll.
Board Member Bland,
Aye.
Board Member Bodertha,
Aye.
Board Member Chow,
Aye.
Board Member Anderson.
Aye.
There are 4 ayes.
Thank you. That carries and the motion is adopted.
Board members, so here we are. It is 2:40, almost 2:45, and we have reached out to the phone-in appeals for the next time frame. At your request, you had requested a brief break today. So I would suggest that we take that now. If IT would put up that screen for us and come back here. We believe most are going to join at just before 3 o'clock or 3 o'clock. So if we all agree to be back here in 10 minutes at 2:55.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm back.
Me too.
We got me 3 and me 4.
Looks like it.
Yep.
We have a quorum.
Mhm. Everybody who's everybody is here.
Mr. Chair, if you're prepared then, I would say the board is reconvening at 2:55 p.m. and I would ask the clerk to please call the roll to verify the presence of a quorum.
Oh, we lost our clerk. Maddie?
I am here.
Hi.
Hello.
Please call the roll.
All right. Board Member Bland,
Present?
Board Member Badurtha,
Present.
Board Member Chow,
Present.
Chair Anderson.
Present.
There are 4 members present.
We have a quorum. We'll continue the meeting.
Chair Anderson and board members, welcome back. We have before us 5 remaining phone-in appeals and then a little bit more logistical work to do before you are able to adjourn. I would first start with, we need to admit our callers in. And then I think Chair Anderson, I think it would be best if you could reread the instructions for them. Okay, the callers are on the line. So if you would reread the instructions and then I will call up the first appeal.
I apologize. I don't have the instructions handy. They're buried in the
Oh, sure thing.
stack.
I can go over that for you real quickly.
Okay, please.
So callers, when you're called on, we just ask that you press *6 to unmute. You'll state your name and your property address. You have 5 minutes to present to the board. The board can then ask you questions and ask for additional information. And then the board will make a decision following your appeal. You will receive a letter in writing from the assessor's office with the outcome of the board's decision next week. And at that point in time, you can choose if you wish to continue your appeal to the County Board of Appeal and Equalization, continuing to work with our staff, or accept the board's determination. And with that, Mr. Chair, I will call on case 21-0462. It is an apartment property located at 333 Hennepin Avenue East. It's found on page 726 of your packet. The property owner is on the line. The original 2021 estimated market value is $88,480,000. And so caller, if you would please press *6, to unmute and present your case to the board. Thank you.
Hello.
Hi. Please identify yourself and the property and proceed with your appeal.
Hello, my name is Will Jefferson on behalf of Derek Traxler for the address of 101 Glenwood Avenue, Minneapolis 55403. And what we are doing today, we're requesting to lower the market value of the property. Some reasons we have, we're looking to get it lowered to the sale price of $500,000. It was recently purchased at that price. The reason we feel it's valued at that, it has been on the market since 2019 at about $850,000.
Mr. Chair, excuse me, Mr. Chair, could we clarify what property we're talking about? I thought we were talking about the parcel at 333 Hennepin Avenue East.
That is correct, Vice Chair Bland. We should be on case 0462, an apartment property located at 333 Hennepin Avenue East.
Yes, I'm here and I was just waiting for an opportunity to speak. May I proceed?
Yes, please state your name and property address for the record, and then we will call the next cases as we get to them. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yes, my name is Robert Tivnan. I'm a representative for the taxpayer and owner, and the property is at 333 Hennepin Avenue East, and it's doing business or known as the Rafter Apartments. It is a subject Class A apartment with 26 stories, a high-rise, and it has 283 apartment units with a breakdown of 56 studios at approximately 20%, 137 one-bedrooms at 48%, 87 two-bedrooms at 30%, and 3 three-bedrooms at 1%. It comprises 212,500 square feet of building area and has 2 vacant commercial spaces on a 0.73 acre site. Prevailing market conditions within the last year have prolonged the lease up of this new apartment. This situation has not allowed the Rafters Apartments to reach a stabilized level, and in turn has negatively impacted the property's current market value as of January 2nd, 2021. As of December 31st, 2020, the Rafters still had 100 apartments vacant, or roughly 40% vacancy factor, nearly a year and a half after opening. There has been a significant slowdown in leasing. There also has been a significant increase in new supply in the submarket of approximately 862 apartment units. This situation has impacted the lease up of the subject property and has resulted in very aggressive concessions to remain competitive in the marketplace. In fact, the subject property started offering 2 months free rent at the end of 2020. The property also includes 2 commercial spaces that have been marketed for lease. However, there has been no active negotiations for either commercial space taking place due to the decline in market conditions. The Rafters had granted concessions of $380,000 in 2020 to new tenants and is forecasting another $419,000 in concessions for 2021. They may not reach stabilization for another year. So the current proposed income by the assessor is $88,480,000 or $312,650 per unit. We've done an income analysis using fee simple rents and also made deductions and came for the concessions and came up with a final market value in the range of $81,215,000 or approximately $286,000, or rounded up to $287,000 a unit, which is roughly an 8% decrease from the assessor's office. And we would request that the board review this material that was submitted and render relief. Are there any questions?
Thank you very much. Speaking on behalf of the board, or at least part of the board anyways, this is beyond our scope to analyze this in a period of about 5 minutes. We will, I suspect, sustain the current value, and you will be eligible to proceed on to the next level where you work with the assessor and get hopefully get relief at the next level.
Right. Well, we would welcome that, and we appreciate everybody's time. I just wanted to participate in this format, and definitely just wanted to provide more information. So we look forward to that opportunity.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments from board members? Seeing none, suggest we proceed to a motion.
I move to, oh, go ahead.
I move to sustain the value at $88,480,000.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
It's been moved by Chow, seconded by Bodertha to sustain the 2021 estimated market value at $88,480,000. I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Board Member Bland.
Aye.
Board Member Bodertha.
Aye.
Board Member Chow.
Aye.
Chair Anderson.
Aye.
There are 4 ayes.
That carries and the motion is adopted.
Board members, we are going to move down to case number 21-0467. Patience with me as I scroll to the right page in your packet. Is located on page 836. This is a residential property located at 5229 32nd Avenue South. The property owner is on the call. The original 2021 estimated market value is $467,000. Oh, wait, I believe the property owner is on the call. Yes, they are.
I believe you meant to say $367,000.
You are correct, Chair. $367,000. Property owner is on the call. So if you could please press *6 to unmute, state your name and the property address, and proceed with your appeal to the board. You have 5 minutes or less. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Mary Rogness, and I and my husband, Jeffrey Hasse, own the single-family home at 5229 32nd Avenue South. The city has increased the estimated market value of our home from $285,000 to $367,000. To reach the early $285,000 estimate for our home, a city assessor did come to our home in 2019. While we agree with the city that our property has a great deal of potential, this potential unfortunately has not yet been realized. Our home only has 2 bedrooms and 1 small bathroom. The basement is completely unfinished. The kitchen and bathroom have not been updated since 1972 when the home was built. Our bathroom is a mustard yellow throughout that was popular at the time. Our kitchen counters are 1972 Formica. We have asbestos tiles throughout half of our basement. We did, since the 2019 estimate assessment that the city made, we did replace part of a chain link fence in the backyard that had fallen down, but it is only for part of the backyard. Other than that, we have made no further improvements to the property in the home or outside the home since the time the city assessor was out. The flooring that we put in 1999 when we purchased the home was the laminate that was available at the time, which is apparently no longer appealing to new buyers because it's quite slippery. I did look at comparable properties throughout the city that have been sold in the last year. It's kind of difficult to come up with comparable properties because there are so few homes that only have 2 bedrooms and 1 bathroom. However, the ones that I came up with would seem to suggest that the actual sale price of our home in the condition that it's in would probably be around $300,000. I did provide this in writing to the board in my appeal. I don't know if it was provided to those who will be making the decision on this, but I'd be happy to.
We have received it.
Okay, thank you. I'd be happy to provide any other information that the board would need to make the decision. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. Board members, do you have any questions or comments you'd like to provide?
I'd like to make a comment. It appears that this property has had some attention from the assessor, noting the value, and as mentioned by the appellant, that she has had reviews in the past. So, not knowing without any sales, I'm thinking the property value will warrant a reduction.
Agreed. Any other comments or questions?
Mr. Chair, I certainly agree that the $367,000 for a 2-bedroom, 2-bath house with not a lot of updates seems quite steep. So
2-bedroom, 1-bath, even more.
What did I
so.
say?
2-bath.
Oh, 2-bedroom, 1-bath. Yes, exactly. So yes, it does seem quite high. I'm not altogether sure what would be appropriate. but I think I would suggest, things have gone up, that's for sure. I would move that we reduce the value to 300,000.
Is there a second on that?
A second.
It's been moved by Bland, seconded by Chow to decrease the 2021 estimated market value to $300,000. I will ask the clerk to call the roll.
Board Member Bland,
Aye.
Board Member Bodertha,
Aye.
Board Member Chow,
Aye.
Chair Anderson.
Aye.
There are 4 ayes.
That carries and the motion is adopted.
Thank you so much. I very much appreciate it.
Board members, moving back up the agenda, we are going to case 21-0464. This is on page 759 in your packet. A residential property at 4739 Upton Avenue South. This is a phone-in appeal. The property owner is on the call. So if the property owner would please press *6 to unmute, state your name and property address, and proceed with presenting your appeal to the board, and you have up to 5 minutes. Thank you.
Hi there. My name is Clark Orlaska, and I'm the owner and resident of the property at 4739 Upton Avenue South. My wife and I have lived here for 8 years, and I did provide some information, some notes and comparative information, along with some information from the market value tools in the assessor's office. Do you have those?
We have the information that you provided.
Okay. Okay, thank you. So a couple of points, and then I would like to just look at a couple of similar properties in the Fulton neighborhood. Since we moved in, we've not made any improvements after adding a dormer 8 years ago. Second, when I look at the accelerated price pressure in our Fulton neighborhood, seems to be doing a lot that has to do with fixer-uppers or flipped houses or new builds. When I looked at the Minneapolis market value tools, I saw only one 3-bedroom house in our neighborhood priced over $600,000. And when you look at sales on busier streets like Xerxes and Penn, they're even lower. One of the other key things is we don't have 3 bedrooms on one floor. We have 1 bedroom up and 2 on the main floor. So what I did is I tried to look at some properties in our neighborhood that have some of the same configurations and also some of the same above ground square foot. I looked at 5000 Zenith Avenue South, which is in the information I provided to you. Sold May 5th for $385,000. 4929 York Avenue South, which sold in August of 2020 for $528,000. 5128 Penn, which is on a busier street, has similar square foot, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, sold for $425,000. And then 5115 Beard Avenue South, sold in June of 2020 for $538,000. Also, a little bit less square footage, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths. I know we're close to the lake, and it is really fun to have people walk by, but Upton is a busy street. And when I consider some of the sales comparatives, when I consider the street that we're on, I'm really feeling like the assessed value that was formerly used, $592, is much more appropriate than increasing the assessed value to $661 as is proposed. And that's why I'm appearing before you today.
Thank you very much. I'll ask the board for questions and comments. My comment has to do with the information you sent. it's got quantity, but what we're looking for is quality. I'd rather see 4 or 5 comparables with photographs, comparing to photographs and dimensions and things of your house would be much more useful for us to make an assessment. If you're unhappy with our ruling today, you will have the opportunity to revise this. And with the help of the assessors department, they will aid you in this process. And we'll go from there.
That would be great.
Oh, go ahead.
No, that'd be great. I didn't realize that, didn't really have guidance on how deep of an analysis to do. So I appreciate that. And if I do continue forward, I'll certainly provide that information. Thank you.
Thank you. Board members, any other questions or comments?
I'm prepared to make a motion, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you.
I would move that we sustain the value at $651,000.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved by Bland, seconded by Chow to sustain the 2021 estimated market value at $651,000. I will ask the clerk to call the roll.
Board Member Bland,
Aye.
Board Member Bodertha,
Aye.
Board Member Chow,
Aye.
Chair Anderson.
Aye.
There are 4 ayes.
Thank you. That carries and the motion is adopted.
Board members.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
So I'm missing the reasoning behind sustaining this, and is it simply that I didn't provide you with what you're looking for, and that's what I would need to do?
Correct.
Or are you? Is it just like? Okay.
It's not that we don't believe you or your the information that you've provided. It's just that it's not clear enough for us to make a ruling. And so I would suggest that you proceed to the next level and work with the assessor's department to, come up with a valuation that's mutually agreeable.
And so would I continue to work with that Aaron Benoit then, who I've been talking to?
Yes, and you will receive a notification in writing and with instructions on how to proceed.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
Board members, moving to case 21-0471 on page 864 of your packet. A commercial property located at 101 Glenwood Avenue. The representative for this property is on the call. So if Mr. Jefferson would please press *6 to unmute, state your name and the property that you're representing, and go ahead and proceed with providing your appeal to the board. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Will Jefferson. I'm calling on behalf of a commercial property at 101 Glenwood Avenue. The reason for the appeal today is that the market value is at $850,000. I'm sorry. The market value is $626,000. That's the valuation. It was purchased at the end of March of this year for $500,000, but it was actually listed at $850,000 for the past 2 years since Lee's, that's the establishment that was there, closed. And the reason for the closing was also the fact that there's a light rail construction project going on right there on Glenwood, right in front of the property, which actually took away about 80 plus parking spaces that the establishment had used for decades. It was an agreement that they had with the city, and some of those things were supposed to be resolved, but they never got around to that. And subsequently, the the property did close for business back then. So basically, another reason why we're requesting that is because the entire upstairs 3,600 square feet is under, it's basically unfinished. So it cannot be rented for a commercial purpose, along with the downstairs also has issues that would have to be tended to prior to opening for business. So we're kind of asking for the board if they could lower the market value to the actual purchase price. That way, you know, it would kind of give us some relief to attempt to move forward with kind of reimagining this space and making it profitable again. But like I said, with the parking issue, it's been very difficult, and like I said, that was the reason it had closed in the first place.
Okay, thank you very much. Are there any questions or comments from board members here?
I have a question for the caller.
Yeah.
About the recent acquisition, was the property put on the market, openly exposed to the market?
Yes, it was Kenwood. Was the and I can get you that listing if you want that documentation. But yes, it was through Kenwood Realty at $850,000.
Okay, and there was no relation between the buyer or seller or anything like that?
No.
Okay. All right, thanks.
Yes, thank you.
Has the property closed yet?
I'm sorry?
Has the property closed, the transaction?
Yes, it's oh, yes, the transaction is closed. Well, it is under
contract?
It's under contract. It's being financed through the seller. So we have that.
And when is it due to actually the buyer to take possession?
It is 2 years. Or I'm sorry, 5 years. 5 years.
So the buyer won't take possession for 5 years, or?
No, he has possession currently.
Oh, I see.
Did you buy this on contract for deed?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, all right. And then that matures in 5 years?
Yes.
Okay.
I think I had that documentation in there, but I can also provide that also.
We don't need that at this point, but you know, we're all still mourning the closing of Lee's Liquor Lounge, but thank you for rescuing it as best you can.
Right. Yeah, that's what we've been hearing. A lot of people loved it, and that's the hopes in the future is to kind of keep it the way it is. There's not a lot of places in Minneapolis that have that vintage style, and we'd definitely like to keep it that way.
Okay, well, that's good news.
I was going to say, I have a question, Mr. Chair. Seeing this is a contract for deed purchase, which if there's no bank financing, there probably will be no appraisal done. Was there an appraisal done either by the buyer or the seller in this case?
No.
Okay.
No appraisal done.
Thank you.
Yes.
At the time that you bought the property, what was the price at the time that you purchased it? What was he listing it for?
Well, the Kenwood Realty had it listed at $850.
And it was still at $850 when you settled at $500?
Yes.
Good for you.
Well, according to their listing, yes.
Yeah, okay. We're still on the market at that price. Okay. Thank you.
Are there any other questions or comments?
I have another question. It looks like the interest rate on the contract for deeds at 7%. That's a little bit above what you could get from bank financing. Was there any specific reason why the interest rate at 7% was chosen?
I guess I don't have that information, but I can always get that for you. I don't know the reasoning behind the actual percentage rate on that, or why they didn't do the.
Are you aware if you can pay off the contract for deed early? Or does it have to go the full 5 years?
No, it can be paid off early.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
If there are no other questions, is someone prepared to make a motion here?
So I have a comment, not so much a motion yet.
Okay.
I find the listing history and the sales history pretty compelling in this case. The above market interest rate would have an impact on the actual sale price, however. So, I mean, I'd be willing to reduce the assessed value to maybe 550 in that ballpark to account for that non-market financing. But I guess that's my input in the matter.
I'm comfortable with that.
That's just what I was thinking.
Okay, well, I'll make a motion that we reduce the valuation to 550,000.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved by Chow, seconded by Bland, to decrease the 2021 estimated market value to $550,000.
Oh, also, and then just an additional thing about the financing, there was 50% down payment also.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion on the floor. I would like the clerk to call the roll.
Board Member Bland.
Aye.
Board Member Bodertha.
Aye.
Board Member Chow.
Aye.
Chair Anderson.
Aye.
There are 4 ayes.
Thank you. That carries and the motion is adopted.
Thank you very much.
Yep, thank you.
Board members, moving to your final case is case 21-0472, a residential property located at 626 9th Street South. It's on page 888 of your packet. The property owner is on the line. The original 2021 estimated market value is $778,000. The property owner can press *6 to unmute, provide their name and property address, and proceed with presenting your appeal to the board.
Yes, my name is Michael Duquette, and I'm calling about 626 South 9th Street, which is downtown in Elliott Park. It's one of the beautiful old great red brick buildings from 1886. I guess I'm calling to have you consider changing both the valuation and the classification. Last year it was valued at 450,000 and now they're going to 778. I would like to have you consider going back to a triplex non-homesteaded. What has happened here, and it happened the year before where I did not fill out a survey, and because of Airbnb, it then jumped from that triplex to commercial. This is the year before, which I'm now going to court for to fight. So my taxes went from $8,000 to $13,500. And then I assume the city has changed the classification to residential miscellaneous, which I'm not sure what that is, and if it relates to an Airbnb. There is an Airbnb on the property, one of 3 units. And if we're counting last year as the valuation, 70% of that rental income was longer than 30-day rentals last year. So it's really not short-term rental totally. So I also
if you look at valuations and this is a pretty hard property to value, but there are 2 other units in that row of housing. 620 South 9th Street is a triplex. It's homesteaded, but they have a value of $420,000. And then right next door to that, 618 South 9th Street is a duplex, and that is valued at $385,000. So again, I'm asking to consider returning it back to a triplex, non-homesteaded, and a value close to that $450,000. Any questions?
Thank you very much. I do not believe that this particular board can change classifications. Rebecca?
Chair Anderson and board members, you do have the ability to change classification of properties. If you would like me to provide some history about the classification of short-term rentals, I'm happy to do that and take a minute to explain that.
I guess I have no clue as to.
Okay, so for the 2019 assessment, no, the 2020 assessment year, excuse me, the direction from the Department of Revenue was that the properties that meet certain qualifications should be classified as commercial. Now we know that the commercial class rate is higher than residential properties. Then in the 5th special session of 2020, the legislature passed language that told the assessors to classify short-term rentals as what we have there as RM. That's residential miscellaneous, and that has a class rate of 1.25, so a lower class rate. And so that's why you will see the change in the classification rate for that, or change in the classification for this property. And the property owner is correct. We do require people to complete this survey so that we have the accurate information about the property. As he stated, he is appealing and via tax court the 2020 classification. So the board can change classifications. However, you know, he can also continue to work with our staff appraiser on the correct valuation and classification.
Personally, I'd feel more comfortable with that because I don't understand the classifications well enough. Any other board members want to comment on this?
I don't feel that I have the expertise or no, the documentation provided here doesn't give me enough information either to make that decision. And I would encourage the owner to work with the assessor to try and rectify this.
Okay, if I may, is it possible to at least change the value to be more in line with the rest of the block?
Well,
450,000.
You'll have whatever decision here is, you'll have the right to move on to another level and work with the assessor to change value and classification.
Okay.
And I think that would be the most appropriate at this point.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll move to sustain the 2021 market value of $778,000.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved by Bodertha, seconded by Chow to sustain the 2021 estimated market value at $778,000. I'll ask the clerk to call the roll on the motion.
Board Member Bland.
Aye.
Board Member Bodertha.
Aye.
Board Member Chow.
Aye.
Chair Anderson.
Aye.
There are 4 ayes.
Thank you. That carries and the motion is adopted.
Board members, that concludes, I believe, all the cases that we had before you today, the individual cases. Just wanted to remind you that we do have a list. It's in the Teams folder of approximately 60-some cases that we received post your convene on Monday, April 19th. and that when the board adjourns, we would just like you to make a motion and state that when the board adjourns, the appeals process closes, and you will no longer be accepting appeals at the local level. So that is the final motion before we just have some closing comments for you.
Would you like that motion now?
That would be fantastic.
Thank you. May I have a motion regarding the final appeals?
When the board adjourns today, at the end of this meeting, we will no longer be accepting appeals, but the appeals that have been submitted until this time will be considered by the assessor's office.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you. It's been moved by Bland and seconded by both other board members to close taking applications after the adjournment of the meeting today. I'll ask for a call of the roll.
Board Member Bland.
Aye.
Board Member Bodertha.
Aye.
Board Member Chow.
Aye.
Chair Anderson.
Aye.
There are 4 ayes.
That carries and the motion is adopted. Is there any final comments, Rebecca?
Yes, so board members, we just really want to express our sincere gratitude for all of your time, energy, and expertise that you've provided, allowing Minneapolis property owners to have this local appeal process. Thank you for your time over the past week and all the time when you're not in sessions preparing. You were very patient with staff and the appeals process and very adaptable as we needed to make some changes. So thank you very, very much. I also want to take a moment to thank our staff, our appraisal staff, our administrative staff, our technical staff, and our supervisor staff in the assessor's office. It's been a long few weeks as we worked on appeals, and we have a few weeks left ahead of us as we start to work on county appeals. But their dedication to a fair appeals process is very much appreciated. I also want to thank the city clerk's office team and their partnership in this process, knowing that they help administer the boards. And then we have teams from IT and communications and some staff from the convention center that help support these live virtual meetings and the recordings of the meetings. So just thank you to everybody that's been involved during this last week and leading up to this last week.
Thank you. And again, thank you to the board members, the staff from the city assessors and the city clerk's office, as well as the tech team for all their work. And if not, and without objection, I will declare the 2021 Local Board of Appeal and Equalization adjourned for the year. No objections? We're all done. Thank you.
Thank you.